Hello, Christmas Flixers. Welcome back to Season 3 of Chicks on Christmas Flicks, where we can never have too many Christmas movies. We can only have not enough Christmas movies. I'm KL Brady, and I'm back again today. I gotta tell you guys, I have fallen so far behind because I am employed by crazy people and I work in a crazy job. And it has been taking up so much time, so much more time than I could ever anticipate. We've had a lot of crazy deals going on, and I've kind of been thrust in the middle of them. So fortunately, I kind of got to a point where we kind of slowed down, and then every day something new comes up. So it just kind of put me behind for this season, but I'm hoping that I'm kind of at the end of it now. So today I'm playing catch up because the 9 to 5 got me so far behind. I want to catch up on my recaps and reviews from week 5. So if you haven't already, please check out season 3 episode 9, where I talked about some really good movies for this year. The Ghosts of Christmas Always, which I really liked. Lights, Cameras, Christmas on Mistletoe Lake, Falling for Christmas, Reindeer Games, Homecoming, and a bunch of hot or not Christmas picks. So I'm going to skip ho 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 holiday headlines today, and I'm going to do some Saint Nick shout outs, but I am not going to do the full long version. Since this is the catch-up show, I'm going to try and get to catching up. I'm going to bypass some of the regular stuff and get to the actual discussing the movies and everything, because I've got some really good ones to talk about this week. So I'm going to shorten the Saint Nick shout-outs, but as always, I got to begin the show with the Saint Nick shout-outs, even if they're short. Because I'm truly thankful for everybody that takes time out to listen to the show. And even when I have these crazy weeks, honestly, this is the time when I sit down, my blood pressure goes like to normal, and I can just sit and enjoy talking about Christmas movies, because I truly do love these movies, honestly. So thank you again to everybody who listens in week out, who takes time out of your busy schedule to listen to the show, or who squeezes the show into your busy schedule. I am truly thankful. So I picked 5 listener locations to shout out. Of course, I don't know who you are, but I know where you live. And let's get started. So the first location is Rice Lake, Wisconsin. Now, I hear Rice Lake, Wisconsin, and I think that there's got to be some good Christmas story going on here. So I'm not doing a long one this week, but I think I gotta look up Rice Lake for the next week. So look for Rice Lake, Wisconsin to come back, because I feel like the name Rice Lake says there's a good Christmas story there. Number 2 on the list is Pittsfield, Maine. Pittsfield, Maine. Thank you, Pittsfield, Maine, for joining and listening to the show. Number 3, Ealing, West London. Ealing, West London. Thank you guys for listening into the show. Number 4, what I consider one of my home states, North Carolina, High Point, North Carolina. Thank you for listening in. High Point, North Carolina. Probably got some family down there. They may be listening. But yeah, that's where a lot of my family's from, in that area. And number 5 is Duncan, Oklahoma. Oklahoma. Thank you for joining Duncan, Oklahoma. So I'm very excited to have you guys on the show. Okay, so like I said, today I'm skipping the ho 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 holiday headlines, but I have a really good one for the next show, and that is going to be movies based on horoscopes. So what Christmas movie should you watch depending on your star sign. So that, honestly, when you hear some of these movies, you're gonna laugh. So I'm really excited. I was gonna do that today, but I feel like I really need to skip that today and try to keep this as short as possible. And it's already gonna be kind of long because there's a whole lot that I missed or not talked about. Anyway, so now it's time for my recap and review of week 5/6 movies. I'm going to do a quick recap, give you my Christmas tree review for each movie. As the regular listeners know, but for new listeners who don't know, the ratings on Chicks on Christmas Flicks normally runs from 3 to 5 stars. 3 meaning good. And that means at least watch it one time. You may not want to watch it more than once, but you're probably going to want to watch it at least once to see the story. It's a pretty good story, maybe not the best thing you've ever seen. And then the ratings go all the way up to 5s, in which for 5s, it means I love it. It's probably on my DVR. It's probably going to stay on my DVR. And I'm going to watch it a gazillion times. So that's kind of the range, right? It's either watch it once or keep it forever and watch it a zillion times. So, and then everything else kind of falls in the middle there. That's kind of what the rating system is for these. And so now I'm just going to get into talking about the movies that I haven't had a chance to get to. Also, at the end of this show, I am going to talk about what are my top 5 networks for this season so far, because I feel like there is a network story that needs to be told. Because I have been leaning so far in one direction, I just feel like it's worth talking about. So we're gonna have a talk about what's going on with these networks this year, and where my favorite movies are, where my reliable favorites are. So anyway, we'll talk about that later on in the second half of the show. But in the first half, we're going to talk about some recaps and reviews. So the first recap review is Inventing the Christmas Prince. This starred Tamara Mowry and Ronnie Rowe Jr. I don't know. I don't know what it was about this movie, because I really did not have high hopes that I was gonna like it or love it. And for me, this movie honestly it didn't disappoint me. So basically the story centers around a mother who tells her daughter this sweet story of this Christmas prince, right? And that this Christmas prince is wonderful, and he's got a mark on his hand where Rudolph kissed his nose, and he has a little mark on his hand from the reindeer nose print thing. So she builds up this wonderful character in her daughter's head, and her daughter believes in this Christmas prince. So the mother, Tamara, ends up taking her daughter to work, and then the daughter tags the mom's curmudgeon boss as the Christmas prince. So the daughter's all excited, and so as not to disappoint her daughter, she strikes a bargain with the boss. And basically, the bargain is you be the Christmas prince and answer her Christmas wishes, and I'll help you be better with the work stuff. And the boss, unbeknownst to her, the boss is already under fire for being a crappy boss, right? And he really is. He's shown himself to be, but you kind of get the sense that the crunchy outer shell. There's a crunchy outer shell, and there's this soft, squishy guy hiding underneath, and so you kind of get the sense of that, but you don't really get to see it because he's not a very nice guy in the beginning of the movie. But anyway, so he has some motivation to take her up on this deal, and over the course of the movie, we watch him play the part of this Christmas prince, and I think we start to wonder, is he the Christmas Prince, or is he going to evolve into the Christmas Prince? And you know, I don't do spoilers on the show, so I'm not going to do spoilers here. But to me, this one strikes all the happy chords. I love watching the character arc and the character progression of Ronnie Rowe. He really plays the curmudgeon well, and you see the evolution of his character, and you end up at the end, you end up seeing him in a different light. So I really, honestly, I did not have high hopes for this movie, even though it had Tamara Mowry, who I love her. And Ronnie Rowe, I love him. Like, he was in, I think, the Jingle Bell Princess movie, Jingle Bell Bride, I think it was, with Julie. You know what I'm talking about. I can't remember her name. Her last name is not coming to me. And she, you know, she's one of my favorite Hallmark actresses as well. But anyway, so I love him, but I didn't have high hopes for this. But then it ended up beating my expectations. So for me, this one was a solid 4 Christmas trees, and definitely worth a watch. And I can tell you right now, I have already watched it twice. So it was good. And I don't typically watch. Now, it's not on my DVR, so it's not in the 4.5 to 5 range. But I have definitely watched it twice on regular TV as part of the regular schedule. So I have to say, Inventing the Christmas Prince, if you have not seen it, I would recommend at least watching that once, and it's probably going to be something you watch more than once. It was really good. I think it was well acted. The story turned out to be a lot better than I thought, and the ending was swoon worthy, definitely. So I think you'll love it. Okay, so the next movie on my list is 3 Wise Men and a Baby. This was on Hallmark, and this was on the Saturday before Thanksgiving. This was a huge, huge movie for Hallmark, okay? Big movie. Andrew Walker, Paul Campbell, and Tyler Hynes, all in the same movie. Come on, man. I mean, this was begging to be watched. So basically, they played brothers. And obviously, you could tell from the title, 3 Wise Men and a Baby, that this was a retelling, a Hallmark Christmas retelling of 3 men and a baby movie. I think, if I remember, it's like Tom Selleck, Steve Guttenberg, and a third guy who's not coming to my mind right now, and who I will probably kick myself for forgetting. I'm sorry, I didn't write it down. But anyway, so you know the original 3 Men and a Baby movie, which I loved and have seen it like a gazillion times. So this was definitely kind of a retelling of that. You've got 3 men. There were some changes from the original version. They were living with mom. Each of them is very quirky and has their own issues, right? And so what happens is some unknown mother drops her baby off with Andrew's character at the fire station and tells him to take care of the child until Christmas. He doesn't know who drops it off. His family kind of suspects that he's the daddy, and he keeps saying, no, I'm not the daddy, but I am going to take care of the baby. He takes the baby to his mom, and of course the mom is like, listen, for a mother to do this, to drop her child off, first she's got to be in dire straits, and she's got to need help. And I for one, want to be the kind of person that helps a mother when she's in distress like this. So we're going to take care of this baby, is what mom says. It's probably what I would do as well. I can understand it. It seemed real to me. There's no way in the world I could see cute little schmoopy face and then, just send them off to CPS, Child Protective Services, or something like that. So I think I would do the same. So anyway, now you have the mom and the 3 sons home taking care of the baby. But in a twist, the mother ends up having to leave to go take care of her own sister who has had a fall, leaving the 3 men at home to take care of the baby all by themselves. And this is, of course, is when hilarity ensues. All kinds of good things, funny things, bad things happen. And it's hysterical to me. For me, this one really lived up to the hype. Of course, like I said, everyone's asking if this is Andrew's baby, and he swears it's not. I do think that would have been a step too far for Hallmark, right? To have him like fornicating before he's married and then having a baby and not knowing. Yeah, that part's not a shocker that that he's like, I'm not the dad, right? But what I really loved about this movie, I think, was that it really was not a cookie cutter Christmas movie. Here's what I really loved about it. I loved that it involved a single mother. Now, I was on Twitter and I was commenting on somebody else's post about it, and they were talking about this movie, and I was saying, well, it was really nice that they have a single mother, and they were like, well, Hallmark always does movies with single mothers. And I'm thinking, not fresh baby single mothers, right? Not when you just push the baby out and the baby is fresh and new and still smells like baby powder single mothers. No, they're usually mature children. They're older children, and the moms have matured, and they're all past. They're not babies anymore, right? They may be young kids, but they're usually like tweens or 8 or 9 or something like that. They're not like babies. So to me, this was really a step out there for Hallmark, having a baby single mother, and then she like left her baby with who we presume is a stranger, because Andrew didn't know for the most of the movie who the mama was. So I really thought that was kind of a bold move. To me, that was as bold as some of the LGBTQ movies or more diverse characters, people of color characters. Like, to me, that was like a really bold move by Hallmark, which I applaud. Yay for Hallmark. I think that Paul and Andrew are actually fathers in real life. So they played it like totally over the top with the baby and the diaper changes and the throw up and all of that kind of stuff. But they played it over the top, hilarious, funny. And the dance scene for me, there's a dance scene, which if you only watch the movie for one thing, it's got to be the dance scene. And to me, that was the winning scene. I think it was Hallmark's most highly rated movie since 2019. I think I saw on one of the posts on Twitter. So, I mean, that's a lot. I think, I forget. I think it's like over 3 million people actually watched the show. That's like, that was a lot, right? So, all in all, this was one of those really great Hallmark. It was definitely a rewatchable movie. Now, for me, I loved it. But for me, it did not hit my DVR. It's not one of those movies I think I'm going to watch a zillion times over again, but I loved it. Definitely a solid 4 Christmas trees. It was a great movie, but it wasn't my favorite of the week. One ended up being more of a favorite, and which meant that I had to kind of put my rating for this movie in perspective. So I did love this movie. It is not my favorite of the week, but I'm getting ready to talk about that favorite in a minute that resonated with me for a different reason. Okay, so anyway, I gave Three Wise Men and a Baby a solid 4 Christmas trees. It could be like 4 Christmas trees and some change. Like I said, great movie, not my favorite of the week. So 100% you gotta watch that one. Like, you cannot miss it if it comes on. If you've not seen it yet, it's definitely one. You might even want to record it. You may not keep it on your DVR, but you may want to record it. Like, I recorded it because I think I fell asleep like in the last, I was exhausted. So I think I fell asleep in the last 10 minutes of it, but that's okay because I had recorded it. But after I watched the whole thing, and then I deleted it off. So anyway, definitely want to watch though. Very good movie. I loved it. I really did love it. But I love this one much more. And it is on my DVR. And it is one that I have already watched about 3 times. And this is called A Tale of Two Christmases. This was my favorite movie of the week. It starred Kat Burrell, who I first saw on the Godwink movie, The Miracle of Love one, and Chandler Massey, who was in my favorite movie from last year, which is Next Stop Christmas. And he also starred in Heart of the Matter with Amy Teagarden. You know, Amy Teagarden's one of my Hallmark favorites. And then Evan Roderick, who starred in Autumn in the City with Amy Teagarden. So it was really like a good, cast. Like, I really love how the movie was cast. I really love the characters. So I was probably already sold from there. But then another thing sold me, and that this was really in the spirit of Sliding Doors. Now, I don't know about if you guys have seen Sliding Doors, the number of times that I have seen Sliding Doors starring Gwyneth Paltrow. Right now, it is on HBO Max. If you have not seen it and you have HBO Max, I promise you will not be disappointed. I loved that movie so much. There was another one that was very similar to Sliding Doors called All About Christmas Eve with Haley Duff. Now that one you can currently see on Tubi, Peacock, Amazon Prime, all for free. I highly recommend them and love them. But anyway, so it's the same concept of Sliding Doors, All About Christmas Eve, which is basically you have a person kind of going through their day, and one decision can change your future. One small decision, one seemingly innocuous decision can change your future in a big way, right? And that's what happened in Sliding Doors. Basically, and Gwyneth is running late for a train, jumps over a kid, and she makes a train, and she kind of runs into the kid and misses the train. And the difference in her making the train and missing the train really kind of changes her whole entire life in 2 different ways. But it's funny how toward the end everything is as it should be. Whether that's good or bad is, but it is as it should be. And so that's kind of what we face here with A Tale of Two Christmases. One decision, one move kind of changes her future, of whether she makes a flight and goes home and spends Christmas with her family, or whether she stays home and spends Christmas with her new crush, and how her life is changed by those 2 events happening. So I loved that. I loved the character. I loved her interaction in both situations. It was kind of predictable, but for me, it was perfect predictability. Like, I knew, but I still wanted to see how she worked through the issues anyway. And especially I knew because I had seen Sliding Doors, so I kind of knew how those things worked out. But I wanted to see this character and how things worked out for her. I was so invested in the story. So I like I said, I really loved it. We see Emma is the character's name. We see her two different Christmases, based on whether or not she catches this flight, and we watch her interactions and how she connects in both situations. And of course, there's complications on both sides that force her to think about what she really wants in a relationship, what she really wants to do with her life, right? Does she want the check the box guy, or does she want the guy who knows her inside and out, and who knows her, who knows who she is as a person, and who loves her as she is, right? I absolutely love this movie. I connected with it on so many different levels. And for me, this one, not everybody feels this way about it, obviously, but for me, it was 4.5 stars. I loved it. What it reminded me of is how I connected with the 12 Dates of Christmas. That same way I felt about 12 Dates of Christmas with Mallory Jansen, that's the way I felt after watching this one. So it was a good feeling. So I think what's going to happen right now, I have an overloaded DVR and I'm going to have to kick a movie off. And I think, I'm not sure yet, I think this will kick Jolly Good Christmas off my DVR. Yikes. I hate to kind of do that. I don't know, maybe I'll find Jolly Good Christmas on DVD. But but I think it's going to come off my DVR because I want to keep A Tale of Two Christmases. And I think I've already watched it three times. I want to say 4 almost. But yeah. So anyway, definitely for me, 4.5 stars. It's a can't miss movie. I loved it. I immediately wanted to watch it again. Is how much I loved it. It was really good. So I think you guys would really enjoy that. If you have not seen it, put it high on your list. For me, it was a must watch. Okay? The next movie I want to talk about is the 12 Days of Christmas Eve from Lifetime. And this one starred Kelsey and Spencer Grammer. And I have to tell you guys, I was surprised at how good this was. I really enjoyed it. So the premise is kind of like Groundhog Day, right? But there's a twist. And to me, it's funny because they even reference Groundhog Day in the movie. So I really thought that was funny. So I'm definitely on the nose about the comparison, right? I have to tell you though, I've been on the struggle bus with Lifetime this year. So I was kind of iffy about whether this one was really going to be worth my time. So I recorded it so that I could kind of watch it, and then I was going to give it 15 minutes and then I was going to delete it. If it wasn't any good, I was going to delete it. But honest to goodness, this one got me. I could not delete or change the channel. I had to watch this one all the way through. And in fact, it'll be one that I watch over and over again. It was good. So Kelsey, who was Frasier. You guys got to remember him as Frasier. He was Frasier in Cheers. He was Frasier in Frasier, right? He plays the owner of a company and is a total and complete Scrooge, okay? He's dismissive of everyone and everything in his life. He's crappy to his employees. He's crappy to his daughter. He's crappy to his granddaughter. He's just a crappy, miserable human being, right? And he plays that well. And you definitely feel like, God, this is a miserable person, right? If this was a character in the musical Spirited that I told you guys about, he would have been haunted by all the Christmas ghosts twice, right? He was that bad, right? He was like a bad guy. Anyway, so he dies at the end of this crappy day that he has where he's treated everybody like crap, and he comes face to face with this magical Santa who gives him 12 days to correct all of his mistakes. And he has to learn one big key lesson. And if he does learn this lesson, he'll live. If he doesn't learn the lesson, he dies. Except there is a really good twist to this one. I have to tell you, you think you kind of know how this is going to go, and you don't know. There is a really good twist to this that makes it not quite as predictable as you think it might be. If you know anything about Groundhog Day, you know how this goes in general, though. With that in mind, I have to say, I really like this one. I took it off my DVR, but I will watch it when it comes on Lifetime for sure. It's a feel-good movie, 100%. If it's not on your list, you have got to add it to your list. Honestly, like, I don't know what the ratings are for this, you know. Like I said, Lifetime's been on the struggle bus, even with me this year. You know, I'm a huge Lifetime fan. But there are so many good things about this movie that I think will draw you to it. One is that the guy ends up dying like 12 different ways. So nothing else, you want to watch it to see how he's gonna die the next time. It was laughable. It's actually pretty funny. Watching death should not be funny, but in this case it will be funny. So I loved watching the relationship with him and his granddaughter. I loved watching the relationship with him and his daughter, finding out why there is this tension between them. I liked seeing how he treated the people around him in the beginning, and the kind of arc that shows you like how he begins to change after he sees the error of his ways. So, there's so much to love about this movie. And again, it is not 100% predictable. There are some good twists in the movie that will have you hanging on, and you're like, yeah, this is not as predictable as I thought it was. So if you didn't watch it because you thought it was predictable and you thought, I'm going to see Groundhog Day all over again, well, you're kind of going to see Groundhog Day again. But there are some twists, and it is not 100% predictable. So I gave this one, for me, and this is a wider range, but I really gave it between 4 and 4.5 Christmas trees. It was good. I think it was probably like 4.25 Christmas trees, right? If it goes up against A Tale of Two Christmases and I had to pick one or the other, like, I'll take A Tale of Two Christmases. So it's not quite a 4.5. But if I had to pick Three Wise Men and a Baby and 12 Days of Christmas Eve, it'd probably be a toss-up, right? So they're right in there together. So, you know, that's the recap and review of 12 Days of Christmas Eve. I think that one is a must watch. I really think it was that good. And I was not expecting it to be that good. All right, the next movie on my list is Christmas with You from Netflix, okay? Freddie Prinze Jr. and Amy Garcia. Okay. So this one I kind of have some mixed feelings about. On one hand, you have like this aging pop star, right? She's slowly being forced out of the limelight by newer and shinier models, right? To get back on top and kind of begin to regain her like popularity, she needs a new song. She's got to have a new song. But she's completely uninspired. Lord, I know how that goes, right? You're trying to write, trying to be creative. And honestly, like, my job just sucks the creativity out of the marrow of my bones. Like, it's hard to be creative when you're like mentally exhausted. So she's in the same spot, right? So she does what many artists do, what many writers do. She goes to YouTube. In my case, I might go to Amazon, and she goes to find some inspiration from a fan, and she finds this young Latina girl who has covered her song, and the girl's Christmas wish is to take a selfie with the star. And so the star decides, Eureka, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go out here and be inspired by this young lady. I'm going to do this selfie, and hopefully it will spark some Christmas joy in me, and I'll be able to write my song. On the other hand, you have this single dad. He's a widower. He's a music teacher, and he pours his whole life into his daughter because it's easier than trying to like restart his own life and start dating again, because that's not easy, right? So the star lands on his doorstep, and the daughter loses it. She completely loses it. And so, but what you have is the story. You have this extraordinary girl, right? The star, in this fish out of water kind of circumstance, right? In this ordinary world. So you take this extraordinary girl and you put her in an ordinary world. So she's definitely a fish out of water, you would think. But so like I said, the movie was to me, like, I actually enjoyed it. Like, I didn't hate it. I've seen reviews where people were like, this was awful and all of this stuff. And I'm sure, like, if you think about things too hard, and you really analyze and pick a movie apart, that you cannot like it. But for me, I really took it at surface, right? So with some movies, I do connect with it on a deeper level because I can. But I think I go into Christmas movies kind of always willing to ride with it at the surface level because, Christmas movies are Christmas movies. So I will say, at the end of this movie, it did leave me with a good feeling. It did leave me feeling a little uplifted with a smile on my face. Now, was it the best movie? No. Is it one I'm going to watch again? Probably not. Did I mind spending, an hour and a half or whatever of my time with it? Absolutely not. I don't want that time back. I don't have to have that time back. I'm not asking for that time back. But I'm not going to give them another hour and a half. So that, take that for what it is. So if there's some things in it, like if you think hard enough, you're going to be like, but for me, like I said, I kind of took it at the surface level. I did not think too hard about it. And I just enjoyed it for what it was. And I did enjoy it. Like I said, didn't love it, but I am not asking for my hour and a half back. So I give it 3 Christmas trees, which means good, not DVR worthy, right? So anyway, let me take a quick break, but I'll be right back with my hot or not Christmas picks and my top 5 networks so far this season that I think that if you see a show coming off of these networks this season, you can almost certainly count it as something good to watch. Okay? So I'll be right back. Stay with us.
Now available on paperback and an ebook, the hilarious romantic comedy The 12 Days of Christmas by USA Today best-selling author K.L. Brady. Both recovering from heartbreak, Gabby and Dave fall for each other after Dave sends a misdirected text message to the wrong woman. It's a comedy of errors when they try to meet face to face. Murphy's Law strikes and they may never see or speak to each other again. However, Gabby thinks Dave may be the one, so she accepts the mission to unite them before Christmas Day. Now she's got 8 days and 12 Daves to find the man of her dreams. But Dave is hiding something. 3 big things. Even if Gabby finds him, will his secrets keep them apart? Rediscover all the joy and wonder of the Christmas season when you pick up this heartwarming story today. To find out more about the 12 Days of Christmas, visit klbradyauthor.com or pick up your copy at Amazon, Apple, Kobo, or Barnes & Noble today. And now it's time for Chicks on Christmas Flicks.
And welcome back to Chicks on Christmas Flicks. I reviewed and recapped my movies from, the week 5-6 period. That included Christmas with You, 12 Days of Christmas, A Tale of Two Christmases, 3 Wise Men and a Baby, and Inventing the Christmas Prince, right? Now I'm going to do my hot or not Christmas chick picks and my top 5 networks so far this season that I really feel like all the really good kind of reliable movies have been on these networks. All right, so first for my hot or not chick picks of the week. The first one of my chick picks, Haul Out the Holly, with Lacey Chabert, Wes Brown, cameos by Eric Mabius. You had to look. He was in the background with the singers. And Christopher Palaha, who is a little more obviously a cameo in this one. This was on Hallmark, and I give this one 4 Christmas trees. It is a hot for me. I enjoyed it. It was a little over the top funny, but it was good over the top funny, and I enjoyed it. Wes played this kind of nerdy kind of get on your nerves guy, follow the rules to the point where he gets on your nerves guy. If you ever watch Big Bang Theory, you know he's like Sheldon to me. And so it was just a fun character for me. Now, you know, you're probably not going to meet a Sheldon in real life, but you love watching Sheldon like interact with people and do stuff in shows. And this is the same for Wes's character in Haul Out the Holly. I think you'll enjoy it. 4 Christmas trees for me. The next movie on my hot or not chick pick list is Santa Bootcamp on Lifetime with Emily Kenny, Rita Moreno. I did DVR it, but I ended up deleting it off my DVR. I would say this one is lukewarm. I would not call it hot. For me, it was probably a good 3 Christmas trees. Not bad, but meh. You know, I wasn't really loving it as much as I wanted to love it. Emily wasn't bad. Rita, to me, she's always fabulous, but she wasn't enough to really take this whole movie over the top for me. So Santa Bootcamp, maybe something you want to watch once, but it's not something I think that you're going to be watching over and over and over and over and over again. Okay. The next one on my list is Xmas with Brent Doherty. So I gotta tell you guys, I really enjoyed that one. For me, Xmas was 3.5 to 4 Christmas trees. It was pretty darn good. Definitely one I think that you should put on your list to watch, and it may be something that you watch more than once. It was pretty good. Pretty good. The next one on my list is A Christmas Spark. I gotta sit with this one for a minute, guys, because I really love this one. Jane, it's a Lifetime movie. It would star Jane Seymour, who we've seen Jane in A Royal Christmas with Lacey Chabert, right? You guys remember that. But she was also in Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. And I did not watch that show. I've seen a few episodes of it. I didn't watch it regularly. But so I understand that this was a reunion between the Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman stars, which Jane Seymour and Joe Lando, and he played Hank in this movie. And so a few things I loved about this movie. One, older characters. I want to say you could say that the characters were in their 60s, right? Definitely, I think out of their 50s. I think it would be safe to say they're in their 60s, right? But I have to tell you guys, the chemistry between them was electric. It oozed out of the screen. Off the charts. I have not seen so much chemistry between 2 characters ever in a Christmas movie. Never, ever, ever. Where it was palatable. Where you couldn't turn your eyes away from the screen because you wanted to see how these guys looked at each other and how they played against one another. Man, they were a perfect match. This is a couple that I would love to see in another Christmas movie or rom-com or something together, because they should be. They play together beautifully. This is definitely a hot like that's a hot. I would give it like 4.25 Christmas trees. Better than 4, not quite 4.5 for me, but there were so many like really kind of fun scenes about in this movie. But you know, Jane plays kind of a widow who struggles with falling in love with somebody else. And there's this really funny scene when the mom, you know, she plays the mother. She comes home in the middle of the night and her daughter catches her coming in at the middle of the night. And they have this talk and it is hilarious. I just love this movie. They did a fantastic job with it. So I would highly recommend that if you have not seen A Christmas Spark, watch it. Watch it. It is so good. I don't care how old you are or whatever. Like I said, the chemistry between these characters is just unreal. Like nothing I've ever seen in a Christmas movie before. I don't know when I've seen two characters so well paired and that showed so much chemistry between them. It was really good. Okay, so definitely put that on your list. And then stepping into the holiday with Mario Lopez and Jana Kramer. Right? For me, it was a feel-good movie. I know it wasn't loved universally by all. To me, it was a feel-good, you know, it was a feel-good movie for me. There was no singing, but there was dancing. There was some chemistry there between them. That was jumping off the screen, but nowhere near what Jane Seymour and Joe Lando had. But the little bit of chemistry that was there, that I think that's kind of that connection really sold me kind of on this movie. So I would give Stepping Into the Holiday 3.5 Christmas trees. Definitely one you should probably miss, but it's not one that I don't think you're gonna be like, I'm dying to see this. Like I would say, like last year's Christmas, a Christmas dance reunion, I liked it better than Stepping Into the Holiday. Like that's one I have watched many times since the first time it showed. This one I'm probably not going to watch again, but it was good. It was good for one watch. And the next one, I will say, and the last one of my hot or not Christmas picks was In Merry Measure. This was a Hallmark movie, and I would say that is a hot. I did not have high hopes for In Merry Measure, and it ended up being really, really good. So I definitely recommend it. And it is predictable, and you probably feel like you've seen it before, and yeah, you probably have seen it before, but it was good. It was really good. Okay? So that is it for my hot or not chick picks for this week. I know, like I said, even with my catch-up show, I know that I still have so many more movies to watch and review, and I will try to add them into the rest of the shows for the season. But I did try to do a little catch-up today. So the last thing I want to talk about before I stop for today is my top 5 favorite networks this season. I feel like this is worth a discussion because one, it's kind of a surprise to me. One, I want to talk about the rationale. And the last part I want to talk about is like where I think you're going to find your most reliable, good movies. Like if you have a limited amount of time to spend on Christmas movies, where do you want to spend that time, right? What network can you turn on and watch up to date that you're reasonably sure you're going to get a good movie? Okay, so that's kind of what I want to talk about this one. So for me, these are my top 5, but just because you're in the top 5 doesn't mean like it's not necessarily, a great thing. But to me, like, it's better than to me, it's better kind of to give you this list than to not give you this list. I'll say that. So I'll just give you my list of where I think the reliable movies are. So number 5 on my list. Now, what is surprising is what's not on my list this year. What's not on my list this year is Netflix. for the past few years, it has been at the top of my list. It has almost been a second or third to like Hallmark and Lifetime. But it is actually not on my list this year. I've really not seen a lot of new stuff that really has me like clamoring to be on Netflix. Last year I was on Netflix all the time. This year, not so much. So I would say I haven't been looking at a lot of movies there. I haven't been looking at a lot of movies on Amazon Prime. Now, I have a lot of movies purchased in my Amazon account, a lot of Christmas movies there, which I watch for the channel. Like what I watch, I watched it for the podcast, or I have them there for my own personal enjoyment. But in terms of new content, like they haven't come out with it yet. So maybe in December, maybe this list changes in at the end of December and January when I kind of do my wrap-up shows. But as of right now, no, Amazon is not on my list either. So I thought it was noteworthy that I should mention those. Now, what I will say is my number 5 network, UpTV. Now, mostly I call them the new Hallmark. I used to love UpTV so much because they really had this marketing strategy where they did this no cookie cutter movies. And now they're doing cookie cutter movies. It's like almost all cookie cutter movies. Although I would say maybe this year they're starting to shift back to the no cookie cutter mode. But so, like I said, they're starting to make their way back to the old formula, at least in terms of diversity, right? But the movies have been meh for me, right? They've not been my favorites. But they have had a few that I have liked. And so there are 5 on my list because I would say there's been a few surprising ones where I couldn't even change the channel. They're older movies, right? There was one where they had a single mom, a pregnant single mother who had the baby in the movie. Like, she got lost and had to stay at someone's home. And yeah, there's this whole twist and everything to this story. This is obviously one of the odder movies, but she was single and pregnant and had a baby in the movie as a single mom, right? And I was thinking, gosh, if you're going no cookie cutter, this is the way to go for Christmas. For a TV Christmas movie. This is about as no cookie cutter as you can get. So there have been a few movies on UpTV where I had it on there. I was watching Reba, I'll be honest, but then I left it on there because some movie came on and I just couldn't change the channel because the movie was so good. So I would say UpTV is, it's at the bottom of my list, but there's some, they do have some no cookie cutter stuff. And of course it is the home of one of my favorite movies, which is Season's Greetings, which I will always watch and I always look for. So they still are playing some of their other ones. I think they played Christmas in the Coast already as well, so I watched that. I watched Season's Greetings this past Monday. So they still are playing some of their old, true no cookie cutter movies. Christmas on Holly Lane, I did watch that one time. So they've got a lot of those classics, but for the most part, they're figuring out why Hallmark changed their formula, and they're starting to get back to their old formula. So I will say that. So UpTV is my number 5. Number 4 is Lifetime. Now, Lifetime is normally one of my top 2 networks, but it has dropped to number 4. And honestly, I'm hoping that it really gets better. So again, Lifetime has the old Hallmark model, and they don't realize that Hallmark has shifted from that model. So what happens with the Lifetime movies and what used to happen with the Hallmark movies is, like, Hallmark would normally start out with its worst movie, and that by the time you got to Christmas, they were showing the best movie, right? I feel like Lifetime's in that formula right now. So you get like a lot of these like acquired movies versus Lifetime original movies, and you can tell the difference in the quality of the movies. And honestly, when you're going up against some of these other networks, it's like, do I really want to spend my limited time watching these movies? But again, you have movies like A Christmas Spark, like 12 Days of Christmas, like I just finished talking to you about, where they were so good to me. They were really, really good. So I have to say that even in the, even when there's a lack of quality content sometimes on Lifetime, they do have some really strong movies. We'll see how they do this weekend and if it gets better throughout the end of December. I am hoping that is what happens. But I have to say, when they're going up against Hallmark, you gotta change the formula. All these stations have to change, because what used to be Hallmark and how you used to be able to compete against Hallmark, you can't compete against them like that anymore, because they've changed. They've changed the formula, and everybody else has to kind of evolve if they want to keep their viewers. So I will say that. That's that. So Lifetime's my number 4. And UpTV's my number 5. My number 3 network this year has been Ion. And I will say I have liked Ion. Ion only shows Christmas movies for part of Sunday. So they don't do the 24/7 movies all season long like the other stations. So they kind of have a leg up, right? And then they have very limited new original content. So they have a slight leg up there as well, right? But I like that they found a niche and that they're sticking with the niche. What is their niche? It is Christmas mysteries. So if you want to see a good Christmas mystery, Ion is your channel on Sundays, right? You watch Ion channel on Sundays, you're going to see some of the old Christmas movies that are, that they kind of show on all the streaming channels and stuff. But you're going to see a few new Christmas mysteries. And I think those Christmas mysteries are going to be the thing that really keeps the viewership on that channel. They've done, I think, three or four Christmas mysteries between last year and this year that they are replaying. So that's definitely one channel you should watch. And the Christmas mysteries are pretty good, and they've got some pretty good actors in it. So I would say Ion channel is number 3. Number 2, this is going to be a shocker to you guys, because my number 2 this year is Discovery Plus. The Food Network in HTV, I believe, all under the banner of Discovery Plus, have original content this year. And 2 of my favorite movies so far have come from Discovery Plus, and I talked about them on the last episode. So this is shocking to me, because when I say I love them to the point where I immediately wanted to watch both of them again and again. And I have seen both of them twice so far. And that is just because, I've been so busy with my number 1 network that I have not spent a lot of time on my number 2 network. But this year for me, the movies that have resonated with me the best have been the ones on Discovery Plus. Can you believe that? My number 2 is Discovery Plus this year, and the Food Network. I'm telling you guys, this is crazy. And then my number 1 network for this year so far is Hallmark. 100% Hallmark. like I said, Hallmark used to have this formula where they started out with their slow movies and where they started out with the not so great movies or the acquisition movies, maybe not the Hallmark originals, and that slowly towards the end, towards Christmas Day, then they would get better and better and better, progressively better. And like the week of Christmas, you would see the best movies, right? Hallmark does not have that formula anymore. It's like they start out great and they get greater. I recognized the shift when the 12 Dates of Christmas was like the first movie of the season 2 years ago. And I was like, I love this movie. I can't believe that they're going to get, the movies are going to get better than this. This is their worst movie? And the movies were like all good, like all season. And the 12th Date of Christmas ended up being my favorite movie of the year. Last year it was Next Stop Christmas. I want to say it was like very early in the season that they showed Next Stop Christmas. Ended up being my favorite movie of the year. This year, I can't really pick a favorite because it's like every movie that I watch, every week there's a new favorite movie. And I mean, I have all of them be my favorite, but there's at least one favorite. Like the quality is off the charts. They have taken the no cookie cutter, kind of that no cookie cutter like flavoring to their movies, right? These are not cookie cutter movies. These are not the Hallmark kind of quote unquote standard. They have different storylines. They have different characters. They have more diversity, and I still love them. If not as much, if not more than I used to love them. So Hallmark is knocking it out of the freaking park. They have definitely set themselves apart this year. And I for one, am really excited about it. That is my number one network so far. Now again, this list could change over the next month. So we'll see if at the end of the season, if I still feel the same way. But right now, Hallmark for me is the number one Christmas movie location. I don't have any doubt that whatever I watch on that channel is going to be good and I'm going to love it. That's just how good it's been this year. It's been kind of crazy how great the quality is. There has been a shift every year. I say they get better and better and better. You don't think they're going to get better, or you don't think they can get better, and then they get better. And so I'm excited to see what happens for the rest of this season. So anyway, that's my number one. And that's all I have for today, guys. Stay tuned for next week. There's some really good movies on the Hallmarks. Plus, like I said, we're moving into December. And so networks like OWN, VH1, they will be kicking in. So I will be doing my reviews and recaps next week, and I will do my hot or not chick picks. So, what are we looking forward to next week? This weekend, Friday, a big fat family Christmas, Asian family Christmas movie, more diversity. Cloudy with a Chance of Christmas on Lifetime. On Saturday, we're looking at a New Orleans Noel with Keisha Knight Pulliam and Patti LaBelle. A Fabled Holiday on Saturday with Brooke D'Orsay. Gotta love her. On Saturday on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries, we're looking at The Holiday Stocking. That's a mahogany movie, so more diversity on Hallmark. It's I like this one. I wanted to just mention that it looked to me like it's kind of a throwback to like a combination of like The Preacher's Wife or It's a Wonderful Life, when this angel gets to return to Earth to make a relationship right, So I'm excited about that one. I think it's going to be really good. Then we have Merry Xmas on Lifetime, where you have an app developer falling in love with a graphic designer. Undercover Holiday, that's coming on Hallmark, a fake date situation. Christmas on the Slopes, UpTV on Sunday. And The Search for Secret Santa on Ion on Sunday. I still have lots and lots of stuff that I have to catch up on, including things like Merry Swissmas, which I said I was going to watch and didn't watch. A Maple Valley Christmas, which I love Andrew Walker. I swear I'm going to watch it and haven't watched it yet. A Long Lost Christmas. When I Think of Christmas. I still haven't watched that all the way through. I think I started watching it and then didn't finish it. Sweet Navidad, A Show-Stopping Christmas on Lifetime. Just a bunch of stuff that I have not watched. Some of this stuff I may not actually get to watch during the season. It may come after the season. But you can stay tuned and listen out. All right. Please keep an eye out for my daily top 3 on Twitter and Instagram. And like I said, stay tuned for more good stuff to come on the season. Thank you to my music and show editor, Will B. He created all the custom music for this show. He's at Wildcard Music, and you can find his IG page in the show notes below. Until next time, remember, at Chicks on Christmas Flicks, we can never have too many Christmas movies. We can only have not enough Christmas movies. Please don't forget to subscribe, leave a review on your favorite platform, and tell your Christmas movie loving friends about the show. Where can you find us? I'm so happy you asked. We're on so many podcast platforms: Amazon, Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, and many, many more. See the link in the show notes. Please follow us on Twitter at Chicks on Christmas Flicks with X's. Follow us on IG, the same. Thank you for listening in, and I can't wait to talk to you guys next week about all the great stuff coming out this weekend. See you next week.